TBD, a stuffed wombat production.
This is the Shirehampton Stuffed Wombat Society with their performance of TBD. Two older gentlemen stride purposefully through a busy town centre. One of them is trying to explain something. The other occasionally nods or shakes his head. It would appear that there's some matter on which they disagree. At the risk of repeating myself, yes, you do.
And repeating myself, no, I do not.
Look, Mugg, how long have we known each other?
Well, as long as I can remember. At a guess, I'd say it was almost 60 years. Your point being?
When I say you look a bit down, I think I can speak from experience. You're not your usual self.
So you decided I needed a job, right?
Not so much of a job, more of a challenge.
And this is why you've answered this advertisement you spotted. You haven't even told me what the job entails. I hope it's not stacking shelves in Tesco. I haven't forgiven them for that subterranean adventure game we were subjected to.
Don't worry, it isn't. Look, if you must know, I've signed us up to be private detectives. On a temporary basis, of course.
You did what? We have absolutely no qualification for that kind of work.
On the contrary, just think of the things we've investigated. The case of the missing freckles, the mystery of the missing mince pies, that weird satanic delivery service, those mutant apples trying to take over the world.
Okay, you've made your point. Where are we going for this interview?
Right here, the offices of Fairley and Story detective agents.
Well, that's what their sign would read if the L and the ampersand weren't missing. To the casual observer it reads, Fairy Story detective agents. And if you ask me, it looks a bit run down.
Isn't that always the way with private detective agencies? It's obligatory for them to look seedy and run down. It's part of the genre. Come on, our appointment with Mr. Fairley was at 10 a.m. and it's 5 past already.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Are you Mr. Fairley?
Indeed, I am. Are you here about the job?
Yes.
Names?
Yes. I'm Dick Zung, and this is my friend Timothy Mugg. Actually, he's Major General Timothy Mugg, but he's retired now. Likes to keep his past quiet.
Since when?
Ah, jolly good. Can always use someone with military experience. Right. Well, I need you two to find out what's happened to a couple of our agents.
What? You mean we've got the job?
Absolutely. Won't beat about the bush. Too much to do and too few staff. Need all the help we can get. Let me just go and find the case file.
Is this a good idea? He seems a bit desperate.
Come on, Mugg, old boy, this will be right up your street.
Right, here we are. Ah, yes. You're investigating the disappearance of agents Muffet and Locks. Haven't checked in over 24 hours. Most irregular. Investigating a bunch of jolly shady individuals, don't you know? Well, what are you waiting for?
What? Is that it? That's all the information we get?
The less you know, the better.
That doesn't sound at all ominous.
One more thing. Since you're working undercover, I think you'd better use code names rather than your real ones.
Fair enough. Did you have some in mind?
Yes. You'll be Dr. Watzung, and your friend here can be Sherlock Mulms.
Right. Nicely inconspicuous.
You should leave by the back door, too. Don't want to draw attention to yourselves, do you? Well, chop chop, the back door is down the corridor to your left.
Yes, of course. Righto, come on, Mugg. This should be fun.
Oh well, lead on.
I suppose he meant this door. Right, what's the... Hang on. Shouldn't this bring us out behind Diddle?
Yes.
So, almost impossibly verdant, open countryside would be a bit of a surprise then.
That's probably an understatement. But look on the bright side. There appears to be a small town about a mile up the road. Perhaps we're supposed to start our investigation there.
You're not proposing a house-to-house search, are you?
No.
What then?
Let's check the hospital first, see if the missing agents have been injured or couldn't get back to base.
But Mugg?
Sherlock?
What?
Sherlock, remember we're supposed to be undercover, Dr. Zeng. We need to stay in character, so to speak.
Ah, yes. So, Sherlock, how do you plan to get into the hospital? I mean, I'm sure they're not going to let in any old Tom, Dick or Harry.
Elementary, my dear Watson. We simply wait for visiting hour and pretend we're relatives. Let's hope they don't ask for proof of our identity.
Well, that was easy. No one batted an eyelid when we came in. One thing, though.
What?
We don't have a clue what Muffet or Locks look like.
Or even if they're working under those names. That's why I didn't ask the nurse we saw at reception if they're in one of the wards. Look, the hospital's small enough, it shouldn't take us long to check all the beds. Let's start with the private rooms.
Ow! Ow!
What's that noise?
Sounds like someone's in a lot of pain. But if they're howling, they're awake and we can speak to them. Come on. I think the howling came from in here. I'll just peer around the door. Crikey, whoever it is heavily bandaged and they're facing the window. Poor bugger. Looks like they've been burned or scalded. The back of their head is almost bald and terribly disfigured.
Perhaps we should leave them in peace.
We have to at least find out if it's Muffet or Locks. Excuse me, you wouldn't happen to be called Muffet or Locks by any chance?
No, I'm Mr. Wolf. Ow!
Blimey, it's an actual talking wolf.
Okay, now that's somewhat unexpected.
No kidding. That's the understatement of the century.
Wait a second. A talking wolf who's been scalded. You aren't the big bad wolf by any chance, are you?
No, I'm Ludwig Van Wolf actually, but people just hear the big bad wolf. I think it's just the teeth, you know.
Let me guess, you were trying to catch and eat 3 little pigs.
Why would I do that? No, I was trying to serve them with a demolition order.
A demolition order?
Is there an echo in here? Yes, a demolition order. I work for the council planning office. I'm the planning enforcement officer.
Do the council usually employ wolves?
No, but I saw a piece in the local paper about how feeble local planning enforcement was and how it needed to have teeth. Well, I thought I was the perfect fit.
And the council obviously agreed.
Indeed.
So what happened?
Well, there were rumours that someone was building 3 properties on the green belt at the edge of the town.
Let me guess. One made of straw, another of sticks, and one of bricks?
How did you guess?
Oh, just a hunch.
Anyway, it turned out that these cowboy builders, the Porcine brothers, were responsible for these unapproved dwellings. Apparently, they were planning to sell them as an affordable housing, or failing their Airbnb them.
You're joking.
No, I mean the first 2 didn't even have flashing toilets.
So what did you do?
Well, I'm legally obliged to hand them a planning enforcement demolition order in person. Unfortunately, they weren't prepared to let me in when I called the house made of straw. Ludicrous, I know, because I only had to blow on it and it fell down. Quite stunningly poor construction quality, if you ask me. Anyway, the Porcine brothers ran next door to the house of sticks, equally flimsy. I was quite huffy by then, and when I yelled at them to open the door, the whole thing collapsed.
So you pursued them to the house of bricks and again they refused entry?
Precisely. Then I saw my opportunity, the overly large chimney. I waited until they thought I'd given up, then climbed onto the roof and slid down the chimney. Big mistake. They'd put a vat of boiling water at the bottom. Ow! Next thing I know, I'm here in hospital.
It sounds like you're lucky to be alive.
Very. The doctor said it could take months to even make a partial recovery. Fortunately, the council provides excellent sickness benefits.
That's a relief. At least you won't go hungry.
True. When I get out of here, I might pay a visit to my niece, Red Riding Hood.
Is that wise?
Oh yes, she's invited me round several times. Promised to make me a really good meal.
Fair enough. Look, I've just got a couple more questions before we let you rest in peace, if you don't mind.
Fire away.
Do you know who contracted the Porcine brothers to build these properties? I mean, I assume their employer owns the land they were building on.
Sorry, no idea. Last thing I heard was the land was used for grazing sheep, not that I ever saw any. Apparently the sheep belonged to someone called Bo Peep. Look, would you mind giving the morphine pump a little squeeze?
Oh, yes, of course. There you go.
I hope you didn't overdo it. He went out like a light.
Let's make ourselves scarce. Hey, look over here. There's 2 patients in this room.
Yeah, and it looks like they met with a pretty nasty accident given the bandages and bruising. Excuse me, sorry to barge in. You wouldn't happen to be Mr. Muffet and Miss Locks, would you?
Nah, sorry, mate. I'm Jack, and that's my sister Jill.
Okay, let me guess. You fell down a hill?
Yes, looks like a pretty nasty accident if you ask me.
Accident? We were bleeding beaten up.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
Hang on. You say we're beaten up? By whom?
Do you know, it was dark, weren't it? And all I saw was a brown coat, and then it all went black. I did grab hold of a gold pendant that was around his neck during the struggle.
Do you still have it?
Sure, it's in the drawer in the bedside table.
Got it? Oh, there are some initials engraved on it.
Let me have a look. TBD. I wonder who it belongs to.
Perhaps they couldn't decide what name to put on it.
Very funny. Jack, any idea?
Haven't a clue, mate.
But why would anyone want to beat you both up anyway?
Because of their housing development and what it's done to river water. We complained to the authorities, but nothing ain't been done. Overloading drains, ain't it?
I'm not sure I see why that necessitates a trip all the way up to the top of the hill to get water from the well.
No shit, Sherlock.
Ah, yes, I see. So the local water company has had to dump the excess flow into the river.
Exactly. Rumour has it this ain't the last development on the green belt land. Apparently they're going to build something on Bo Peep's land once the sheep are gone.
Strange. That's the second time Bo Peep's name's been mentioned this morning. Perhaps we ought to pay her a visit. Come on, Zeng.
What Zeng?
You, Zeng, obviously.
No, I'm supposed to be Dr. Watzung, remember?
Right, yes, this is, Dr. Watzung, but I, often shorten it to Zeng. Good day.
Just a sec. Wait, Sherlock. Oh, lummy. Oh, thanks for the help. Get well soon. Bye. Sherlock, slow down. Look, wouldn't it have been a good idea to get directions to Bo Peep's field?
Oh, I'm sure somebody will be able to direct us.
Admit it, you don't have a clue where you're going. Why don't we ask this woman here? Excuse me, Miss...
Mary.
Do you think you could direct us to Bo Peep's field, Miss Mary?
It's okay, you can call me Mary.
Sorry, I just...
I'm Mary. Mary.
Yes, we heard you the first time. We're not deaf. Look, could you just tell us which way Bo Peep's field is, please?
Well, she'll be over that way. Down the road about half a mile.
You mean the road to the right there?
No, the one on the left.
I think you were pointing to the right.
Well, it's the right one then.
And it's half a mile away, you say?
Give or take.
Give or take how much precisely?
Could be half a mile, perhaps 2, might even be 5 at most.
Right. Well, thank you for your time. Come on, Dr. Watzung.
Good day to you, Miss Mary. Mary? Bit blooming contrary, that one.
I think we'll just have to trust to luck.
Well, I think we might be in luck. Do you think this lady ahead might be Bo Peep?
Yes, you might be right. Excuse me, miss, you wouldn't happen to be Bo Peep, would you?
Yes. How did you know?
I think the shepherd's crook was a bit of a giveaway.
Oh, of course. How silly of me.
Excellent. I wonder if you could help us. We're in the property development business.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
Since when?
Since we heard about the recent developments on the Greenbelt land. I like to think we know an opportunity when we see one.
Ah, yes, of course. Very interested in any money-making opportunities that might come our way.
So, as I was saying, we'd be keen to learn whether you know anything about the recent developments that have taken place.
I don't really have time right now. I've lost my sheep, you see. I think they've been stolen.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. When did you last see them?
Last night, I think. Yes, I checked up on them late last night. They were in this very field right here. And today, when I came to check on them again, they were gone.
We could help you look for them if you like.
No, that really won't be necessary. I can look for them myself.
No, we'd be delighted to help. Come on, Dr. Woksung. Let's see if we can find any traces of the thieves.
Right. Well, if you don't mind, I'll head off and report the theft to the police. Good day.
She seemed to be very keen to leave. Do you get the feeling she was hiding something?
Absolutely. She really didn't want us poking around in this field.
I wonder why.
Because I'm pretty sure her sheep weren't stolen. In fact, I don't think there were even any sheep here.
How on earth can you be sure of that?
No shit, Sherlock.
What?
Just look around. What do you normally find in any field that's had sheep in it?
Ah, you're right. There's not a single sheep dropping to be seen.
Precisely. I think Bo Peep could be part of this illegal property development business.
Could be, but her name doesn't fit with the initials on the pendant.
Perhaps she's a front for another organisation.
Yes, but who are they? And is it even anything to do with us? We're supposed to be looking for the missing agents, Muffet and Locks, remember?
You don't think that Muffet and Locks are on the same case, do you? Mr. Fairley did say that they were investigating some shady individuals.
It's a possibility. Perhaps we should visit the well. After all, it's our only remaining unchecked lead. Flipping heck, that's steep. No wonder Jack and Jill were pretty angry about having to climb all the way up here just to get some water.
I wouldn't like to come up here in the rain. I can imagine these cobbles being slippery as hell. Wait, you don't think they made all that stuff up about the attack, do you?
I don't think so.
Help!
Sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't hear it.
I didn't say anything.
Help!
Well, it must have been you. There's no one else here.
I can assure you
Help, please! Somebody help me!
that there seems to be a voice coming from down the well.
Just asking, but can you hear any bells?
Why do you ask?
Because, on current form, the bell should be ding-donging while we find a pussy down the well, albeit a talking one.
Hang on, I'll see if I can see anything. Hello?
Oh, at last, thank God you heard me.
Quick, Zung, take the bucket off the hook and lower the rope down. Hang on, we're lowering the rope down. We'll get you out.
What's the matter? You both look a bit surprised.
You're not a cat.
Why would I be a cat?
Never mind. Let us introduce ourselves. I'm Sherlock Molmes, and this is Dr. Wat Zung.
You're from the detective agency, aren't you?
How did you know?
Only Mr. Fairley would come up with such stupid code names. Oh, I'm Goldie, by the way.
Let me guess. Goldilocks.
Yeah, the red hair's a bit of a giveaway, isn't it?
But why were you down the well?
Daddy Bear threw me down there.
For eating his porridge?
I don't think that was his primary reason. No, me and Lil broke into their house. I did taste the porridge to try to gauge how long they'd been out. You know, to see how much time we might have to search for evidence.
Evidence for what?
Illegal property development.
Mug? I think I know what those initials might stand for. You know, the ones on the pendant.
Go on.
TBD, 3 Bears Developments.
Crikey, that would link them to the attack on poor old Jack.
Yes, didn't he say something about remembering the attacker's brown coat?
It must be one of the bears.
A pretty fancy bear to be wearing a gold pendant.
Probably Russian, then.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. They're a pretty ruthless bunch. Look, we've got to find Lil. I think she managed to download a lot of incriminating data from their computer. Unfortunately, they came back just as she was shutting it down. We split up to avoid capture. Unfortunately, Daddy Bear caught up with me at the top of this hill and threw me down the well. I was lucky there was so much water in it, Otherwise I'd be dead.
Your colleague, Lil, she wouldn't be called Miss Muffet, would she?
Yeah, Lil. Miss Muffet. Come on, I'll show you where the bear's house is in the woods. Let's hope we can find her there.
You know, Zeng, I have a nasty suspicion where this might lead.
That's the bear's house over there. When we split up, Lil went that way, off to the right.
Come on, Zeng. Let's see if we can find any footprints.
Isn't Sherlock supposed to carry a magnifying glass? It would seem oddly appropriate now.
Mugg and Zeng, are they made-up names?
Look, young lady, I'll have you know...
Over here. I think I found something.
I don't like this. The tracks seem to end here. Right next to this...
What's so special about that, Tuffet?
Zeng, Goldie, keep your eyes peeled. We could be in grave danger.
From what?
A spider!
Lil's not afraid of spiders.
Not even a giant one?
Don't be silly. All the spiders in this country are tiny. She ain't afraid of them.
So why is this knapsack, with what looks like the remains of her lunch, here? I assume this cheese-like substance is curds. And why was there a discarded bottle of yellowy liquid on the ground 50 yards back that way? Couldn't she have just gone behind a tree instead of using that bottle? You know, to do her business?
Ah, clever old Lil. She knew I'd come back and find her when the heat was off.
But there are an awful lot of bear prints here.
Yes, and they seem to have continued onwards into the woods again. Ugh, I've just stepped in something.
Yes, it is soft underfoot, isn't it?
No. Well, this isn't mud, Sherlock, but I think we now have conclusive proof that bears do indeed do it in the woods. Ugh.
Ah, right. Anyway, it's pretty clear Lil's not here. Perhaps they carried her away.
I doubt it. Lil was here. I'm pretty certain we've come too far.
What do you mean? She can't have just vanished.
No, show me where the bottle is. No, don't move it.
Why?
Because the yellowy liquid in the bottle is way, not wee. She left it as a clue to her real route. Get it? Way?
I'm not sure I follow.
Look, she walked up to the tuffet and dropped her knapsack. Then she retraced her steps backwards, being very careful to use the same footprints. Finally, she leapt to one side to start a fresh set of tracks. That's when she dropped the bottle, as a hint. A naive pursuer, and these bears aren't the brightest, wouldn't have spotted the deception. They probably thought that she simply disappeared, as if by magic. Look around. Are there any footprints near the bottle?
Over here. Crikey, that was some leap.
Well, if you'd exited right pursued by a bear, I expect you'd be capable of some extraordinary feats too. Well, what are you waiting for? Let's follow the new tracks. Lil, it's me, Goldie. Are you in there?
Crumbs, that cave looks jolly dark. Are you sure there aren't any massive spiders waiting for us?
Seriously? Hey, Lil, are you in there?
Hey, Goldie, you came to find me at last. Is the coast clear?
Yeah, I haven't seen hide nor hair of the bears since these two pulled me out of the well. Long story. Did you get the data?
Yep, on this data stick. I think those bears are going down for a long time.
I'm sure some joke about doing porridge would be in order here, but I really can't be bothered.
Ugh. Come on, we need to get this evidence to the police as soon as possible.
It looks like it's going to take a bit of time. The police want to interview us first. Would you two mind waiting in the room across the courtyard through those double doors? You'll find tea and coffee making facilities there. Oh, and I gather it was PC Plod's birthday today, so there might even be some birthday cake left too.
Well, I'm famished.
Hey, Zeng, wait for me.
Must be through here.
Well, this looks vaguely like a courtyard, but I can't see another room. We must have gone the wrong way.
Odd we can't get back in. The door's locked.
Perhaps we're back home again. I guess we're supposed to get our own tea and cake. Isn't that a Greg sign over there?
Yes. Oh well, it'll have to do. Let's hope they're still open. I could do with a sit down and a cuppa. That's quite enough excitement for one day. TBD was written by Tim Reed and starred Richard Hall as the announcer and Dick Zung. Tim Reed was Timothy Mugg, Clive Barrington was Mr. Fairley, Freddie Gorton was Ludwig van Wolf, Paddy Fowler was Jack, Cindy Reed was Mary, Sarah Gorton was Bo Peep, Hazel Hall was Goldilocks, and Florence Smith was Lil Miss Muffet. Sound effects were beaten up and thrown down a well, and it was a stuffed wombat production.